This video is made possible by our loyal Patreon supporters. Visit patreon.com. Many of our subscribers don't see our videos. Make sure that you click the notification bell.
Hey Yogi, welcome. Today I have a 10-minute video for you all about flexibility. So it doesn't matter what kind of yoga you like to do, what kind of athletics you're into, having control of your range of motion is essential so that you recover faster, you get injured less, and you overall feel more capable to do whatever it is that you love to do. So to get started, we're going to come on down to the back. If you do have knee tenderness, I recommend having a hand towel ready, and we'll use that later when we're kneeling. So come on down. Find a place where you can have a nice long spine, and then lift your knees into your chest and take each hand on each kneecap. We're actually just gonna use your hands to stir or steer your knees. So this is just kind of like stirring some soup. Our hips are a ball and socket joint, so that means that we have a pretty big command of what we're able to do with our hips, but depending on our lifestyle and what we tend to do during the day, we get stuck. Certain areas get tight or stiff, or we're just not quite familiar. So just kind of stir your hips around in circles. It might feel a little funny. This is the first time you've ever used your arms to steer your legs, but eventually once you just sort of give into it, it feels really, really good. Great. From there, stop in the middle. Touch your feet down so you can scoot your hips over to the left, and then you're just gonna drop your knees to the right and take a twist. So from here, you'll notice that my shoulder doesn't completely lay down. Oftentimes, that kind of twist is pretty big for us. So just pull that opposite shoulder out and take your arm long, and you'll feel that rotation come through. We are not just segmented parts and pieces. We are a holistic body. So when it comes to hips and spine, it all is connected. Good, come back through the middle. Scoot your hips to the opposite side, take your twist. Pull the shoulder blades out from underneath you, let the arm go long. It's totally okay if your knees don't perfectly stack. There's no reason to force it here. What's really helpful when it comes to range of motion is to remember that flexibility is this term that we feel like is infinite, but that's not really true. We all have a certain range of motion that our bones and our muscles and our tissue is going to allow us to have. So you don't have to push and push and push and push. Just go to the place that you can control and just be with that. Come back to the center. Draw your knees into your chest. Great. From there, we'll come on up to tabletop. I'm gonna pause for a second, put my mic pack back on. It fell out. Sweet. So pull yourself up. We'll come to tabletop. So we have active range of motion and passive range of motion. So when we are using an other force like our arm or a friend or a wall or gravity to create length in a muscle, that's passive, right? But then we also have the active range of motion where we're actually using our body and controlling the range of motion that we have in that joint. So just like we stirred our hips with our hands, now here from tabletop, we're going to actually use our hip to stir itself. So just make some circular shapes. So if you're into power yoga, you know that we do a lot of dynamic transitions. Make sure you're stirring in both directions. And that means that we have to feel pretty coordinated on our mat. And it also means that our major joints in yoga, our hips, our spine, and our shoulders, need to be able to move in a controlled and optimal range of motion. And so working with some of these little exercises can really help maintain a feeling of openness and fluidity. Switch sides. And when it comes to range of motion and active range of motion, it really is use it or lose it. So if you're not training your body in this way on a regular basis, you will start to notice that you stiffen up pretty quickly. You may even notice a pretty big difference from side to side. And a lot of that has to do with what you're doing in your daily life. So sometimes we'll say, oh, I went to yoga and that made me stiff. But really, there's lots of other things that you're doing more often than your yoga practice, like driving and working, whatever you're doing at home. Those are the things that influence how your body feels a lot more than your yoga practice. But your yoga practice can help you mitigate any of the things you're doing in your life that are maybe putting stress, strain, and stiffness into the body. Good. From there, we're going to tuck your toes, pop up onto your finger pads, and bring your right foot forward. So this is where you might want to grab some padding for your knee. If you have some knee tenderness, you'll just slide it right there underneath the back knee. So come on up, interlace your fingers, press your palms up to the ceiling so you can give your waist some length, and then engage your left glute. It'll feel like your tailbone got really heavy. Engaging one muscle helps its opposing muscle release. So we call this reciprocal inhibition. We have those relationships across our body, our quads and our hamstrings, our biceps and our triceps, our glutes and our hip flexor. Good. And from there, take your hands to your thigh, and we're actually going to move back and forth through the range. So release that left glute just a little bit. So it doesn't have to be clenched. Allow your hips to plunge forward, and then engage your inner thigh and pelvic floor and return to the start position. So we're just working really slow here. And you'll actually notice that it takes quite a bit of muscular strength to actually move back and forth with control. And we're thinking about control, that's what we're all always after, right? We want to feel agile and in control of our body so that we can do all of the things that we want to do. Good. On the next one, just come on down. We'll hold this low end range for just a few breaths. You don't want to feel a focus of sagging down, so there's not really a goal of being as close to the floor as possible. Instead, you want to feel where your body hits sort of a natural edge and then sustain it. Great. Now release your hands down. Place your right knee back. Your left foot will come forward. So again, if you need that little bit of towel for some knee cushion, that's fine. So with your left foot forward, come on up to your lunge. Bring your pelvis over your knee. Flip your palms up to the ceiling. Engage your right glute. I can already tell that my right hip flexor is feeling a little bit stiffer than my left side did. Not quite sure why, but that happens, right? We feel different from side to side, and that's totally fine. And then release your hands to your thigh, then plunge the hips forward. Find that controllable end range, and then back yourself out. Good. So you're just kind of lunging into it, and then engage and lift out. And this is why we have the padding for the kneecaps. You're not rocking on that tender area of the body. You got a nice amount of cushion. Moving back and forth. I'm so much more interested in you being able to control your range of motion than I am about you being able to, just bend as far forward as you think is necessary to be a yogi. There's really no prescription for how flexible you're supposed to be. You want to be able to feel comfortable and in control. So on this end range, stay low, pause for a few breaths. And it doesn't matter what activity you are interested in doing. Golfing, biking, cycling, maybe you just want to get into better shape. When you have these types of capabilities in your body, you're going to feel more comfortable. You're going to feel more powerful. Good. Release your hands down, return your knee back down. This time we're going to go into a floating splits or a floating Hanumanasana. Hanuman is the namesake for the splits in yoga. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee, and then you're going to shift back. So you're going to be on your front heel and the ball mound of your back foot. Hug the inner thighs, and this is going to be a lot. You're going to feel the outer right hip. You're going to feel your hamstring. Breathe here. Good, and then we're going to take 3 rounds lunging back and forth. So just bend, and then pull the hips back. Bend the front knee, pull the hips back. This is a little video you could do a few times a week. Feels really good. And then release back down, switch sides. If you notice that your hands feel too far away from the ground, you can always put blocks or books stacked one on top of the other Tuck your back toes, slide up onto your heel, hug your left hip back, chest moves forward. So you're gonna feel that all the way in the back of your thigh into your outer hip as well. And the more you start to engage the side panel of the leg, you're more gonna feel it into the outer hip. It is not a goal to straighten your knee here. Your knee doesn't have to be straight. Let's find those 3 back and forth motions to your lunge, and then back, lunge, and back. And maybe you're going wide today. Maybe you're breathing for 2 today, right? I know I got some pregnant yoga mamas out there. I've seen make space for belly, make space for belly. Good. Come on down, find a seat. So you can move your cloth out to the side. And as you come into a seat, soles of your feet together, knees go wide, lift your chest, and then just fold. We'll only be here for a few seconds. When it comes to how long do you hold a stretch, it's different from person to person, but typically after we're in a stretch for 15 to 30 seconds, we start to feel that sort of release, right? And that's for a lot of different reasons. When it comes to stretching, we're working with different reflexes and different responses from the brain to the muscles that we are stretching. And most of those reflexes have to do with keeping us safe. So that's why breathing is so important when we're working with range of motion, because our breath helps us speak to our nervous system. Good, come on up. Plant your feet on the floor, hands behind you, cross your left shin over your right thigh, and then lift your chest up. Good. Beautiful. You're gonna switch sides. Last little stretch here. Lift your chest up to your shin. Gets right down there into your butt. Great. And that is it. So if you have more time today, definitely tune into another video, maybe take some sun salutes, go for a walk. If that is all you had time for today, that's totally fine. 10 minutes so that you can spend a little bit of time feeling great in your body is awesome. Thank you so much for doing something great for yourself. If you liked this video, please download our Yoga Plus app. You'll find awesome videos, 10 minutes all the way to full length 1 hour flows. And I even have my 30-day Yoga for Weight Loss Challenge posted up there now. I know you're gonna love it. I'll see you in the next video.
Introducing Yoga Plus, offering a free series every month with over 300 different videos. Take control of your health. Work out anytime, anywhere. Yoga Plus. Download now for free.